And then I just have a problem with like white girls being like, I'm gonna talk cool. Like I'm like,
wow.
ooh, I don't like that. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Do you?
Okay, what? Because that is not you. I don't know what that thing you're doing is, but please.
I mean, but
stop.
we do know what that thing is. That's appropriation.
Oh, I just don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's just not honest. Like what? You don't have just do you. What do you just teach? Talk.
Just teach and
just talk. Like you don't. I don't know what that is, but it's not working. Mm-hmm. And all we're doing is teaching people, like, it's actually about them, not you.
Well, I find like the performance aspect of, there are a lot of performers.
I'm not into it.
You're not into it. But you have
I'm not
a theater background, so.
But I'm teaching. So there's the entertainment aspect is secondary. Mm-hmm. I'm teaching you. I'm not performing for you. Mm-hmm. But I don't perform for you when I'm acting. I'm telling someone's story and living someone else's truth for you to have an experience.
Yeah.
Which also makes an actor to me good or trash.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very like vivid sort of like saved Instagram videos of you being amazing and celebrating the female form. And it does feel like, you know, like you're like it is a performance, but maybe it's just a channeling. It's a subtle difference.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, I'm uninhibited. And a lot of women are not, because we haven't been taught to be that. And so, you know, speaking of school years, I remember at 18 entering Juilliard going, I don't know what this is going to be, but the two things I won't be are jaded and jealous. And not everybody's not going to like me. And that's okay.
How did you come to that at 18?
I was okay at just throwing myself at this thing that I had no idea of what it was. And so I didn't want to try to posture and anticipate the experience. I just wanted to be fully present. It's and this huge gift. Mind. Yeah. You know, I was a complete nerd. You know, I grew up in Oakland, AP and honors, everything, and student government and sports and theater and all the things, and boyfriends, and you know, that I was going to get married to because I was a good Catholic. And
oh, wow. I didn't know that part about you.
Oh, that I'm Catholic?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, now I'm also Baptist because I needed, I think, more Jesus to help me.
Jesus is good. Love Jesus. No, it sounds facetious coming from a Jewish girl, but like when I part of why I gravitate toward your teaching is because it is God informed, and for me that resonates.
Yeah,
I'm into it. I didn't know that it came from the Catholic Church or from Baptism.
No, it didn't come from that. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna hang out in purgatory for a good while.
Oh, I'll see you there.
Yeah, got to be like. I mean, you're well intentioned. Understood the intent. The delivery had a lot of 4-letter words. But my first acting teacher, John Sticks, who was probably definitely 90s when I met him, was like this big, and I was like this Catholic schoolgirl who was, you know, not uninhibited. I was very like controlled and needed to get an A, and you need to get an A in acting. And I remember
not as if there's such a thing in acting and mothering. Don't get me started. Right. Like I need a grade. The like educational system has told me that like I need a test and I need a grade so that I know it's complete and that I've done my job.
He saved me. He was like, honey, you're not at home anymore. You're not in high school. You're an adult. You can curse like a sailor. I kind of want you to. And I remember doing one of those, you know, sensory exercises. You know, my parents are paying all this fucking money to send me to Juilliard.
I think everyone should go to acting school. I know it seems like crazy to be walking around like a giraffe, but genuinely, I think it's like essential learning for all. Sensory exercises.
Yeah, or being a color. That was Jaron Farnham.
I am purple.
No! So I had a classmate who was purple. I try to remember a lot. I'm more visual than I am like
auditory.
Yeah. Jaron Farnham was purple. And I remember him being purple. And I've had moments in school where I was like, my parents realize that they're paying $30,000 to
They
$40,000
don't.
for me to be purple.
They don't realize, and they don't need to know.
They don't need to know.
But
I was like, this would not be the class they need to witness.
it's not at all, and they're not witnessing, and there are no cameras, and no one's allowed in for good reason, because I'm swimming in sand.
Yeah, but it was the shower sensory, right? And like it finished, right? And John Sticks is like in his 90s sitting there, and everybody's trying to get their A, and they're like, and then when I got in the shower, I felt the water dripping down my spine, and the temperature changed, and I was sitting there like, I'm gonna fail this class because I didn't feel all that at all. Like I didn't feel. So after class, I was like, I don't know what I need to do, but I was not feeling all that. He's like, they're not feeling that, and he's like, all you have to do is if you're sitting there and nothing's happening, just tell yourself nothing's happening.
That's right.
And the audience is gonna see that you had a thought. And I was like,
well, the other thing is the audience sees that you're present, and like for an audience that is just dying to be in their body, like just dying for a moment here and now, the neurotransmitters in our brains that like get to experience what you're experiencing, like for a second, if she could just feel nothing, then I can feel something.
well,
Because we're here being honest.
right, and acting and training, right? So I'm also a trainer.
Acting
Hi,
nerds.
my name is Rachel Nix. I have 20 jobs.
I would call them like careers or
No,
callings.
that's a trifecta. It is now. So, born and raised Oakland, California, went to Juilliard, actor. Then was always into fitness. I was an athlete as a kid, played basketball, soccer, volleyball, and I was a gymnast for 12 years. So that was like a piece of me. But back then, in the good old days, being a fitness professional was not a thing for young girls to aspire to.
It didn't look as fun. Not
Yeah,
nearly
I mean,
so-
there was
Jane Fonda.
There was Jane
and
Fonda, but like
right,
outside of that,
Simmons, what was his name? Richard Simmons. He was
Simmons.
having fun, but in general, I don't know. It wasn't as like
my mom definitely had a thigh master that I probably almost killed
Ditto.
myself in the face with a few times. Where I
Ditto.
was like, I'm probably almost like popped my hips out of place trying to squeeze. I do remember that.
Is that why my pelvis is out of alignment?
Possibly? Because that thing was. I mean, that was serious.
Oh, we should talk offline.
Yeah, well, I love the pelvic floor, so we can talk all about it. We could maybe do a whole podcast about the pelvic floor.
Probably should.
Yeah, and then I was taking a lot of hot yoga and realizing it was sustaining me in a really unhealthy relationship in my mid-20s and started teaching, and what I say is unlocked Pandora's box, and I just was obsessed once I started teaching. And so the reason I love to act is to affect change in my community, give a voice to the voiceless. And when I start teaching fitness, I'm like, well, I'm doing that even in a more tangible and personal way. And then I just was a nerd for it, like I am anything else, and got a bunch of certifications. Then I had a bunch of mothers that were my students. Always wanted to be a mommy. I was that girl that swallowed her baby and, pushed in the stroller. I didn't talk to my dolls, which is weird because I'm an actress, but I took care of them like a mother. It was very serious, changed their clothes, all thing. And then I specialized and did more training in pre and postnatal fitness, and then dove into becoming a doula, then saw that women weren't breastfeeding and became a lactation counselor.
Doula.
Yeah, I'm a doula and a lactation counselor. And now I have a nonprofit called Birth Queen.
Called Birth Queen. Okay. So I'm going to start from Birth Queen.
Yeah, we'll go backwards.
And we'll go backwards. How about that?
Yeah.
Because Birth Queen is actually how I just started getting really interested in you, because I remember meeting you with Jenny Moness, who also was on the podcast, who's a mutual friend. And I heard you talking about Birth Queen, and I was just like, whatever this woman is doing, I am going to support, and I am going to do whatever I can to get the word out, because...
Thank you.
Wow. Can you tell us about Birth Queen?
Yes. So there is a Black maternal health crisis. For those of you who do not know, Black women die, I wish I could keep it at the small number, but the general number is 3 to 5 times the rate as white women in childbirth. But in New York City, it's upwards of 12 times the rate. Our babies are twice as likely to 3 times as likely not to make it to their first birthday. Our breastfeeding rates live around 35%. White and Hispanic women's live around 53 to 56%. So what happens is people like to be like, oh, it's like a low income Black and brown issue. It's like immigrants or obese Black and brown people. I'm like, no, it's a Black issue across socioeconomics. and race is the issue. We are dying because of racism, and that is like hard for me as a Black woman to swallow, or anybody else that hears it, because your brain is like, what? How is a woman dying in childbirth because of racism? How is a long history of medical racism. And so what's important for me to explain to everyone is how we got here. So obstetrics is a very young practice in the scheme of life, but it was created for monetary reasons. A lot of women having babies, white dudes were like, man, we can make some money. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out how to deliver babies. Well, they didn't talk to midwives, who in this country were all women of African descent, slaves.
I didn't know that. Wow.
So midwives is not this like trendy white thing. It's an African tradition. Mm-hmm. And everyone in this country was born in the hands of a Black woman who was a slave. And so that when obstetrics started to enter, they're like, okay, well, we got to demonize all the midwives to take all the business. Hence, business of being born that Ricky Lake did, right? So they made babies. It's capitalism.
Business of Being Born is a documentary that Ricky Lake did.
Yeah.
And it's
right. So it exposes a lot of the problems, but
not this problem.
So in the 1860s, you have Dr. Marion Sims, who's like called, the father of medicine, all this stuff. It's like, no. He's raping slaves and cutting them open without anesthesia to practice C-sections. A lot of them survive. He goes, whoa, Black women don't feel pain the way white women feel. That holds true today across the spectrum. I mean, studies have been done with, certain doctors think that Black skin is thicker and we don't have same pain receptors and all these things. So if I sprain my ankle, go to the doctor, you ignore me, I can still walk, I don't die. But if I think I'm hemorrhaging and you're like, yo, you're tough, you're a Black woman, I'm like, I ain't that tough. Like, I need you to check.
No, I'm a person.
If I'm hemorrhaging. And we've all done it. And then Black women are like, well, I'm tough. So if it's hurting, do I not say something? Should I be able to suck this up?
That's right, because it's internalized as well, right? Because we're swimming in it.
Correct. So that's it. So Birth Queen, why? Because I am a Black woman with education, resources, and privilege across the board. And specifically, I like to talk about my packaging. I am an acceptable Black woman. Not once I open my mouth, then everyone's like, oh, we wouldn't expect her to be that loud and clear and honest. I try to smile while I do it, but
you don't have to.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do have to. I don't know.
I think for me,
you don't have to hear is what I'm saying.
The pain seeps through, but I think for me, I choose joy and I don't want to live in pain. And so Birth Queen was born out of my trauma about having another Black son in 2020 when Black men were being killed for sport and Trump was riding high and race relations were insane and the pandemic and all of that.
So Baldwin, your second son was born. So
Baldwin, my 18-month-old, was born September 28th, 2020. I had one of those like crazy visions like that brought me out of the bed to take to the gram, to texting, to emailing Black women like, would you share your story, your birth story? And a lot of Black women were like, me, sign me up. From really public to the most conservative and private. They were like, me, what do you need? I'm here. And I'm like, okay, so there's something here. So fast forward to March 8th, I literally received my EIN for my nonprofit on International Women's Day, which I was like, okay, God, there was like the 85th sign of him being like, this what you doing? I'm like, am I doing this? I got a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. Am I really about to found a nonprofit?
You're doing this.
So I did. And so, basically what we're doing, I was in the junior league for 10 years. So
I don't know what that is.
So it was like a really racist organization that's not racist anymore. But The Help, remember The Help, where like Black people couldn't use the toilets? That was junior league. But it's not that way anymore. It was kind of that like invite only sorority nonprofit that focuses on women and children. But the great thing is I was a member for 10 years. They made an effort to diversify. And what they do is raise money and disseminate hours of volunteer support to established nonprofits. So what I learned is how to run a successful nonprofit.
Oh, wow.
And I also learned that there are amazing people doing the work, but it is so hard to raise awareness, to raise money, and to do the work.
Okay.
So Birth Queen will be like, ideally, my dream, we're only a year in, is to house this issue so that you can come as an ally or a Black birthing person to get resources and education. And then we'll fundraise for Birth Queen specific things, but Birth Queen will also disseminate funds to organizations organizations doing the work to support Black birthing people and to also fund trainings for more Black birth workers. Because, and I will stop at this sentence, we know that solution-wise, and that's big for me, I can't just live in the problem and the stress that Rachel doesn't function in sadness and stress. No. Rachel's like, what's the solution?
You're delivering the solutions. You're really channeling God, I think.
Oh, no. This is all by design. Like, yeah. I can't
by design. That's exactly right.
He's literally, like, my steps have been ordered. And why I share these things like the EIN on International Women's Day. I literally said one day when I was when he was helping me put the vision together, I said, I need to meet a Black midwife. I kid you not, you guys. The next day, I got an email from a Black midwife in Oakland, where I'm from, right, who's a Mirror member.
Right.
And I was like,
Mirror, where you work as a trainer.
Yes, I'm a trainer at Mirror. And so I looked at the sky. I was across the street on the east side, and I was like, okay, that was a little too clear, But he was like, you're not going to avoid this. No. I mean, I got a gig that was the cost to file, the exact same amount, things like that. Yeah.
When you say birth workers, is that what the phrase you mean like midwives, doulas,
lactation?
Okay, and you're not talking right because birth is work. I wasn't sure if you were talking about mothers.
No. So the last thought for everyone to understand what the solution is we understand that there's medical racism. I wish I could wave my wand and fix that.
No.
I'm open to talking to OBs and all of that, but we know that when you have a Black woman caring for a Black woman, there's positive outcomes, right? So that is why what I want to do is make sure we have more Black midwives, more Black doulas, more Black lactation, because that's also a huge issue, and a lot of bias and misinformation that I have friends dealing with real time. So that's my goal, pairing that.
And as a doula, do you often work with non-Black?
That's what that has me passionate about it, because I've supported wealthy, educated, privileged white women who were treated like shit. So I'm going, damn, they didn't even listen to her.
No, they don't. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
of being
so
a doula.
We have a problem.
Do you know what a doula is, right, guys? So it's like a woman, or usually a woman, who is the go-between between the birthing mother and the care provider, so that the birthing mother, who's in the midst of this enormous undertaking, has someone advocating for her. That's crazy that we need an extra voice and an extra body in the room advocating.
Everybody get a doula. Everybody. But just do it.
But isn't it kind of a crazy paradigm that we need a doula, that the doctor wouldn't listen to the woman? Yeah.
So,
I mean, there are also physical.
She's supporting you
physically,
coach, but yes, she's also there to go.
Right, these are your options, and they forgot to mention this, and I think you can do that.
Right, and I think the other thing that to keep it positive, a doula is there for you and your entire experience, pregnancy, birth, and at least a couple visits. At least one visit postpartum. There are also postpartum doulas, and bereavement doulas, which is important because people have loss. But what people have to understand, I think we're afraid of birth. We're like, it's gonna hurt. I'm scared, and then we just ignore it. Nah, that's not the thing to ignore. Educate yourself, empower yourself, and have a doula so that in the moment when you had your plans and your preferences and you have to pivot from those preferences, you have someone that is educated and talked you through it, and you guys have different routes to take that keep you centered in your birth experience. And so the real problem is that the mom has been taken out of the center of the birth experience. But what I need to tell everybody is, who are you without your mama? You're not here. So how are women?
And by you mean the whole
anybody,
world. Anybody and everybody.
Everyone.
That's exactly
right. So
right.
why are you with your letters behind your name, or your white coat, or your this? You ain't shit. Did
you make the eyeballs?
You're just not important. So when you walk into the room and you look at the monitor and you look at the partner and you look at the nurse and you look at the clipboard, excuse me, I'm here trying to have a baby. So there's no baby without me. Why are you not looking at me? Why are you not talking to me? Why are you not touching me? Why are you not creating a space that I feel safe and empowered? By the way, a cervix doesn't open unless a woman feels safe. That's why we have so many C-sections. That's why we have so many women getting depressed, because they don't feel empowered and their body's not literally not opening. Dogs cannot have a baby on Fifth Avenue because they know it's not safe. So why should I feel safe to have a baby with bright lights, a bunch of strangers going in and off a break and shift changes and only looking at monitors and leaving me once they medicate me? And literally every time, once a woman gets epidural, they're ghosts.
They're gone.
And they're like, do you feel like you have to poop? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check. No, you're not ready to. Do you feel like you have to poop? No. And that's it. That's all they do to you. And you're like,
I'm in the middle of the biggest
so I'm just like
life.
supposed to sit here and lay here strapped to all this shit and no one says anything to me?
So I mean, it's crazy. But this experience came, this like sort of moment of realization that you needed to be a doula came to you with Samuel through that
No, I
experience?
was a doula before being a mother.
I did not know that.
I was actually talking to a friend about that. I think we had that conversation so I could try to articulate it properly. But there are women who have babies who then think they're doulas.
Okay.
And I'm like, you might have arrived to the fact that you would like to support women now as a result of the lack of support you have. But what I find dangerous with that arrival of that choice of path is that you have to be very diligent that you don't apply your story to everyone else's.
That's right.
So I was a doula and not a mother for a long time first, because I saw a need of women being unempowered, and that doesn't sit well with me.
And that started before you were an advocate for Black women. This is women
in
general.
No, just in general. And it was so I was passionate. I always wanted to be a mom. So from my mid-20s, I did a lot of education for my own personal edification. Then I started teaching, going, there's a lot of moms that I'm training. I didn't feel confident. You literally get a 1-pager about pre and postnatal fitness in every fitness training. And I'm like, clearly that is not enough information for me to serve pregnant and postpartum women. That's not enough. And every training was like that. So then I did another 85 yoga pre and postnatal training. I did another certification for a week with a woman who was a Pilates instructor who had a 10-finger diastasis recti. Ouch. Because everyone's like, oh, just keep doing what you're doing. And she was like working on the reformer throughout her pregnancy. And literally, she laid down and it was like a horror movie or sci-fi. You could see this was her stomach. You could stick your hand into her body.
But did it get better? Tell me it gets better.
Well, not with a 10-finger. You have to have surgery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then after that, did it get better? I need a happy ending.
Yeah, they do, little courses.
Just a little
but it's things like that women aren't prioritized. Incontinence, I talk about it all the time. Pain with sex, vaginismus. We have to have these conversations. And so I was passionate about it because those women just kind of fell into the background, right? And are doing things that make their situation worse, not really postpartum than prenatal. So that's what led me to do it. And I had a student when I was playing with the idea who was pregnant. She's like, you're doing it and I'm your first client. And I was like, okay.
You're doing the doula training and I'm going to be your first client after that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's holy work. You're bringing life into the world once a month?
No, I don't have the bandwidth to do it now.
Yeah, because you usually work through the night. Babies are usually born through the night, right?
Right. No, it is God's work because you have to drop everything to be there for a family. And
you have a family of your own.
Yes, I have a family of my own and all my other commitments. So the last birthday I did was 2 weeks ago, almost 3, of close friends.
Yeah.
So that was beautiful. And she was great about that. We just kind of have faith it was going to work out. And baby girl came on my day off. And
wow.
She was 30 hours on my time off.
Time,
I was like, look, Corey, girl, Auntie ain't slept, but I love you. You're cute, so it's fine.
Is she cute?
She was worth it. She cute. She got big old fat cheeks.
Yay.
But it's beautiful. And I think too, I'm at the point where, when you're young, you're like, how do people mentor and like connect dots. You know what I'm saying?
How do people have a
how
career?
How do you
do
to
that
point? But now I am an advocate. I am there to help people down their path. And I get what's so dope about being a mirror trainer is we're national and now becoming international. And I'm helping women now essentially around the world be empowered to stay in their bodies, to love their bodies. I'm intentional about saying the word sexy. Like I want mothers to stay in that space. Like you got a baby in your body with sex. So why should you stop having sex after you have a baby?
That's right.
I mean, this might be TMI, but I love on myself more than ever now.
Yes. I was saying, well, we had a question earlier where Laura was like, what do you do for self-care? And I was like, self-pleasure.
Yes.
Self-pleasure. Yes. This is important.
My mama tried to teach me young, and I was like, I want the real thing. And she's like, also girl, like it's a lot faster, easier, and you get it done how you want it done. And I was like,
wow, what a good mom. Catholic school mom.
And, you know, she believes that should keep going. Let's put it that way.
Proud of her.
It should never stop.
Proud of her.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I really want to teach that to my daughter, actually. I think it's really important because if we don't know how to pleasure ourselves,
you can't teach the person to pleasure you.
That's right. And also have autonomy over your body and your own sexuality. And also there are so many bliss chemicals that are available to us in orgasm. You know, why would we be snoozing on that? It makes
it better. I mean, everything's better once you have an orgasm. You like,
everything is better,
about?
and it's yours. It's yours for the taking. This is your body. Go for it, babe.
Yeah. Oh, and you have a daughter. My mom, I know this is a little off topic, but she answered my question the best. So I had the nerve to say, "Were you a virgin when you got married?" And she was like, "I ain't answering that question." But then she said, "It's your body. And no one can tell you what to do in your body." But she said, when you engage in adult activities, there are adult consequences. So just make sure when you make that choice, you're ready to deal with the consequences. I was like, ooh, that was good.
Yeah, did you write
She
that
didn't
down?
give me the answer, though. I was like, so am I supposed to have sex with him or not?
So did you have sex with him or not?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, not him. I did not have sex with him.
Smart mom.
No.
Good mom.
It was good because, and
that's empowerment. When you have choice, you have power.
Because she didn't tell me what to do with my body either, right?
That's right.
And make me afraid or... Yeah, it was good. I was like, ooh, that was good. I still remember. We were in the car, too. Yeah. I think she probably felt like she was about to crash the car. Yeah. But she's like, just stay calm, Denise. Stay calm.
Well, I don't know. I think I hope that when that time comes for my daughter and my son, that like I can be enough in my own pleasure and my own power that I can deliver that script. That's a good script.
It's a good one. That's why I wanted to share.
But thank you so much. Did everyone get that?
Yes, write it down. It worked. It was good.
Because I hope that the vibe is like even keeled, but the words are good. You know, that is the truth. Like I can't stop you. I can't. It's like how I feel about when like my kids sleep or don't sleep, eat or don't eat. I mean, I can't do it for you. This is your life. This is your body. Like I actually can't. If I could, I'd put the broccoli in your mouth, but I can't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel the same way about like, eventually with sex. Like, I don't have power. I don't really have power over them. And the illusion of that power would be.
But I want women to be empowered to love what they see. And at every chapter and iteration of your body, because it's not a size thing. And with Samuel, I was younger and I hate the word snap back, but my uterus shrunk at a pretty fast rate. But I pushed him out with a 98 percentile head for 3 hours. Oh. So I didn't want to do a jumping jack for 9 months. I was not incontinent, and all the things I teach worked. I tried twice. I had big babies and had to push Samuel for 3 hours, and Baldwin was nice. He had a smaller head for 15 minutes. I was very appreciative. But it took time to heal, right? And all of that. And I wasn't public with my journey because I didn't want anyone to think like my body needs to look like Rachel's body. But with Baldwin, I was very public because I realized my body's my body, but my uterus did take longer to shrink. And I educated a lot of women that didn't have babies that were like, why is your stomach still big? I'm like, girl, like your sister got 3 kids. You didn't know, like, you don't just go back.
Don't know. People don't
and
know.
It takes time. And I felt stronger after Baldwin to be physical sooner, but I my uterus took longer to shrink.
Do you know why? What the difference was?
Age. Maybe
stress, maybe.
You know, I was at pandemic, whatever. You know, maybe how even he was all of the things, his positioning. Yeah, any number of contributing factors, but
you shared it.
I shared it, yeah, and I shared more of my body than my baby immediate postpartum because we lose sight of mom. You know, while she's pregnant, there's a lot of like, oh, congratulations, the baby. It's still kind of her, and then it's like the baby, and you're like, oh.
Where did I go?
I feel like my vagina's gonna fall out, and I have a diaper on, and my breasts hurt, and Noah's talking to me, and my partner's sleeping more than I am. So great, this is motherhood.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Like,
no, that's not motherhood. That's not okay.
Right, it's not okay. And so I say to women, I want you to do things that make you recognize yourself. Second baby, because I thought I was going to have like a Beyonce moment in my first birthday, but after pushing for 3 hours, you don't look cute. It's blood vessels are shot, the hair. I kept trying to put my bandana on, but the shit, everything. I was like, I was not cute. So I got my braids done. I got my lashes done.
For the second baby.
Yeah, my nails were done for Samuel, but this one I was ready, okay? The brows were done, the nails were done.
Good.
The lashes were done, and the braids were ready. So we could, you know, roll over when you
take a picture.
So you can take a picture, and then when you wake up and you waddle to the bathroom with your little pot to squeeze on your vagina, and then you pooping and breastfeeding and all of those fun things that you have to do postpartum, you can at least stand up.
God, is it weird that I missed that? That is so weird. I had a moment where I was like, oh, I'll never do that again. That's bizarre.
What, breastfeeding and pooping?
Breastfeeding and pooping. That was such a moment. I was like, oh, I remember that. And then,
yeah.
What is that? Oxytocin. Go on.
You're like, is this my life?
Why are we nostalgic
so
about that
I showed
moment?
all of that stuff. I'd be in the bathroom, like, on the gram, like, so this what it is, in case anybody wanted to know. Like, it's not the celebrity who posts in her bikini, like, 1 week after, like, with all the right angles, and then you on this gram, I'd be like, her abs are flatter than mine. And I know that it's like kind of a lie, or she just kind of lucky that way, but maybe she has a bunch of cellulite somewhere else that I don't have. You know, it's just like, who cares? Or maybe she didn't breastfeed and so she lost weight faster. There's so many things, contributing factors. I mean, variables.
The overarching thing for me is I don't care. Like, I who fucking cares? You put life on this earth.
I know.
You life-giving goddess. Right. The idea that we would... because we can't actually hold the grandeur of what this woman just did. We have to, our brains are scrambling for what just happened here.
Right.
And we're like, body.
I can't
when
with
really
that snap back. Oh, your stomach's so flat. And I'm like, but there are women, this is my fitness hat on, are hurting themselves, right? They're going and running, and they're having incontinence and prolapse because culturally there's so much pressure for them to be thin. So I'm an advocate for Black women, but I'm as equally as loud about the amount of white women who are incontinent because of the social pressure to be thin.
Yeah.
So in the Black and brown community, if our man looked at us like, you need to lose weight, you just had a baby, we would be like, excuse me? Keyword, I just had your baby. Like, are you worried about me being West size? Like, that's ridiculous.
That's the culture.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, it's not that we're not trying to be fit eventually, but like not right after. What? Like,
that doesn't even make sense.
In the wrong. And if you think about Africa, like my girlfriend's like, when I'm thin and anywhere in Africa, I'm not getting any play. When I'm thick, I get play. So that's why when I was young, I'd be like, I wish I had some hips and some thighs. Then I would get more attention.
Oh, Rachel, next you're doing just fine.
I get attention, but it was funny. I would have arguments with white girls with hips. And then now in the Bay, we didn't talk about like a lot. I went to Catholic school, so there was a lot more Jewish girls than I realized.
In life?
Well, no, in high school.
In Catholic school?
Yeah, we had Jews in Catholic school.
Why would they do that? That makes no sense.
It's not like $40,000. It was back when I went. It was
and like it's a good education.
No, I went to a liberal. I mean, we had like a gay club and drama club. Like it was a very progressive.
Jew club.
They probably did, but I just they didn't do like the prayers. They would just sit down for that. But I remember too, it was body type because we talk about hips and things like that. And there were non-Jewish girls that were thick too, and we would argue about that.
No, but Jewish girls have hips.
But then I would find out how many white girls had curly hair. And we would go through this. And they were like, I wake up every day to straighten my hair. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
every day?
They hate themselves.
Why you do that every day? And
they
their hair would be
themselves.
so, they would have one day and it come curly. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Just just wash and go.
Just wash and go. I know. I mean, the amount of... Listen, what I'm also hearing from you is so beautiful. You're like, I'm advocating for Black mothers. I'm advocating for Black women. I also see that white women suffer. We are suffering from a patriarchal system that is cruel.
Yeah.
And you are. I mean, you are so beautifully seeing that and really serving that. And I just want to say, like, back to your birth queen vision. Like, I want to be. How do white women help? What do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? Because I see you serving the general population of women in the most loving of ways. And I also see that is such a beautiful position to be in, to say, guys, and we have a specific racist issue that is leaving mothers and babies dead.
Yeah, I think it's talking about it. It's if you happen to be at the hospital at the same time and see you're getting a different treatment, saying something. It's
Can people donate?
Yes, you can donate. Money talk, baby. Money talk.
I mean, if someone's listening to this and they're inspired by you, Rachel.
Money is money, yes. So please visit birthqueen.org. Please follow us at birthqueen.org on Instagram. And yes, money is a real thing. And I like to say to people, any money, right? I have monthly donations for $5, $20, $15, and then if people can give 500,000, great. But please don't think that, I don't have enough to make a difference. And I think because if too many of us are like, well, my little bit is not enough, it is. There's also just things that I want to do that are just outside of the box. Utilizing your platform to share Black birth stories so people hear and understand. Also, if you have, a business that you can donate in kind, or a restaurant, or you're a photographer and you can donate free maternity or newborn shoots to Black families.
What is that? Tell me more about that.
That's just my vision. I want Black women to have the full New York baby experience that costs hell of money. You know what I mean? You have a midwife and a doula, and then you have a photo shoot during your pregnancy, and then a
photo shoot during your pregnancy. Oh my God, what is that? But okay.
Oh my God, I had an amazing one.
You did.
Lily she's out in New Orleans, and that it all worked out. She happened to be in LA.
Amazing.
When I tell you, I felt like I was queen, goddess, mother, sexy beast with this big old baby in my belly. It was awesome, and so I felt. I loved being pregnant.
Yeah.
Being pregnant with a toddler is
it's a whole other thing.
It's just the struggle is real.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks because you're just tired all the time.
Yeah.
But it's still beautiful. It's all of the above.
It's all the above. That's true.
And I want women to have that. And so I think what it was is that Birth Queen my hope is that Black women have that empowered experience that I had. Everything about my births didn't go as planned, but I left them feeling like I was at the center.
Because you're educated in this arena?
I believe it was education, yes. It was my team. It was where I chose to birth. But I absolutely dealt with a power dynamic and judgment because of even my stature.
Oh.
That women didn't believe I was going to be strong enough to push.
Oh.
With my second baby, I had to argue. They kept being like, and she just put her on pit to push. And I'm like, I don't need that. But they see that they assume I'm not strong because of my stature. I've dealt with that in my fitness career a ton. And it's other women a lot.
The thing about racism and hate in general, it's internalized also. Like, women are unfortunately as patriarchal as men. And it's not serving anyone. I mean, it's just a system that's faulty. You know, it's not like men are the only ones benefiting and or serving up the patriarchy or the pitting women against each other. We're doing it
Yes.
to ourselves also,
Yeah.
unfortunately and unconsciously. I don't think
Right.
any woman is like, I'm going to make this person suffer. I'm going to judge this person.
Yeah, and I think,
I mean, maybe some are, actually, but
well, yeah.
for the most part.
I think what's your question of like the what can white women do? Something that happens a lot is
All women, but I'm a white
no,
woman.
no.
or
But
white
something that
passing
happens
or-
a lot is there's a common comment that I get a lot from white women and other black women get is like, I understand. That has to stop because you don't, and we don't expect you to. It's like if we talk about religion and you're like, well, I'm Jewish and I'm Catholic. Oh, I understand. Well, what is that? No, what? Like, why do you even feel the need to say, like, it's just like, it's like looking at your male partner and be like, I get what it's like to be a man. But do you?
That is so interesting. I was just saying to
You don't.
Laura.
And you never will.
Wait.
So why are you saying that? What is that coming? Like, where is that coming from? And it's common. And I think it's just a nervousness and like listen, like these days, I don't want to be white and someone be like, are you one of those whites or one of these whites? I don't know. Which side of it are you on? Like, you know what I mean?
Real
like,
talk.
I mean, if you're a great white person, you're like, oh God, like, oh my God, do they think I'm one of those?
Yeah.
And so I think it could
It's
come
real.
simply from, I understand. I'm not that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Although, you know what's really interesting? I was just telling Laura that I find it very healing for non-Jewish people to say, I do see anti-Semitism and you're not making this up, and I hold that and I understand.
yeah, holding space, yes.
But I actually enjoy the I understand. I love a good eye-to-eye moment with a person who's not Jewish who says, I see it. I
But
understand.
seeing you, hearing you, receiving you, being open to receive you is different than saying, I understand. Because I think, I understand you've put yourself on top and you've put yourself back in the seat of power. When I am a doula, I am here.
Yeah,
I'm not here.
right.
I'm like, what do you need? I am receiving, feeling, or just silent. And so if you always have a voice, understand Black women do not. No one wants to hear what we have to say until we're needed to save the day.
Okay.
Then we save the day, right? And we still do it, but we don't have space to lay down, to be cared for. Because we're holding space for Black men.
Yeah.
We're holding space for white men. We're always, I mean, if you really think about the construct of this country as Black women and slaves, we fed the babies, raised the babies, breastfed the babies, cooked, cleaned, were fucked, and had to suck. Like, we were used.
That's right.
Right? And so it's aggressive to hear that, but we have to understand what that is and how it goes. So even Black women, it wasn't until maybe 9 months ago that I was like, I never felt okay saying I'm not okay.
Wow.
Because no one ever asked, including other Black people, because when Miss USA jumped, I saw her. I said, yeah, she ain't okay, but she's pretty. She's light-skinned. She's skinny. She was Miss USA. She got curly hair. She's perfect. Her life is perfect, right? So no one's asking you. Now, I'm not walking around like, oh my God, my life is so hard. I'm not
Not at
doing
all.
that. But I do have a right to say I'm tired. I do have a right to say I'm overwhelmed. I do have a right to ask for what I need, to know my worth, and to expect it.
Yeah.
Right? Without being called a diva, the gold digger, like all of that. Oh, when I speak my mind, when you're passionate or you're, all of those things that we do. And so but it's tough, right? And I think the other thing that during the 2020, I had a lot of conversations with white people, brands and people, individuals, like, how do I talk about race and how do I do better and all that? It's understanding that Black people don't have a net. We don't have anything to fall. So if we succeed, we're trying to pull as many of our people with us as possible. So the pressure is really, really real. And I always like to talk about mothers, like working mothers, especially if you go back to work and want to breastfeed, right? You think about a Black female executive surrounding by white males. And then you think about the girl, the hourly young mom or whatever at McDonald's. They got the same amount to lose. They can't speak up and advocate for themselves. They can't say, I need to pump, because what if that doesn't work? They can't say, I need time off, because they won't have their job when they get back. Like my girlfriend is a PhD from Columbia who went back to work in a week.
After she gave birth.
A week. She is a psychologist who went back to work in a week because she knew her position wouldn't be there. She didn't have to do it. Her man is a trader. They're millionaires. It's not about the money. She cares about her work, but she's not valued. So she literally, and I said this to her and I said, I didn't mean it like that. I said, you literally drove yourself crazy to keep your job. And I said, I didn't mean to say that. She said, absolutely. I gave myself depression because I'm trying to keep up.
As a mental health care provider.
Yes.
Right.
Because there's no one saying, I need to create space for you to heal and do what you need to do for you as a woman and for your family. And so she said, I actually ended up hurting myself and my family to provide for my family and make my family proud, or whatever her thought process was. Right. And she also brought up something crazy, like the FMLA. Some people can opt out of that. So she didn't have the option to even have that. So she didn't get paid. Then if she took the time off, she would have had to pay full insurance coverage. Oh, it's all crazy. But yeah.
What you were saying, I just want to underline something. You were saying when white women say, I understand, almost in a knee-jerk reaction, it's not helpful.
No, and it's not that I'm mad at it, but
it's okay if you are. I wanted to underline it because I wanted to.
It's important, I think, that we talk about.
I want the listener to hear it.
Because realize when you say that, like, just ask yourself, where is that coming from? Like, with a need to say that. And that when you do that, as a talker, I'm guilty. But when you're talking, when you're responding, you're not receiving. You're defending, you're explaining yourself. And so you're not learning anything, right? We're not having a shared experience because you've now made it about yourself. Wow. And so Black people laugh all the time when white people say, I understand. We're like, well, clearly you need this to be about you. And so we shut down. Wow. Because most Black people we don't want to explain, we don't want to go there all the time, right?
It's exhausting.
So, we're tired, we're tapped out. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah.
The question really came back to, how do we support? What do we do for Birth Queen specifically?
Yeah,
for that vision?
I think,
and most importantly, I think you're telling us, listening, donating, holding the vision that Black women should have the same safety and experience that white women have, meaning the midwife, the doula, the photographer. I love this idea of the photographer.
Because it is a beautiful time. And so I think the other thing is, imagine if you get pregnant and immediately you're like, am I going to die? All of my friends are worried, young Black women in their early 20s are like, I don't even know if I want to have kids. Right? Because what people have to understand about the Black experience is every day we're worried about surviving our day. So for me, Birth Queen is not here. Like, if you scroll to the beginning of my Birth Queen posts, I was dressed in my Christian Louboutins and I was all, in all the, looking pretty and all that. Because for me, Black women and my people need to be reconnected to our abundance. We came from abundance from Africa. Right. Africa is the most resourceful and beautiful continent on the planet. And so it is by design we were taught, and that was all stripped from us mentally, emotionally, and physically. We were broken down. Our families were broken down. Our bodies were practiced upon and used, right? So I want us as Black women to realize our power and reclaim our joy and our abundance. And I am over the survival narrative for Black people. Mm-hmm. And so a woman surviving her birth is baseline. It's 2022. Like, nobody should be getting a cookie for that.
No.
right? You need to make sure that every mom and baby, and therefore family, leaves empowered as they enter their journey of motherhood. So unfortunately, especially now, I mean, we know the Sandra Blands of the world, you definitely can also, or Breonna Taylor, you can lose your daughter as well. But we definitely know if you have a son, the level of stress as a Black mother and father is really intense. And so that is why I had anxiety attacks every night of my third trimester, knowing I was bringing another Black son into this world. And my baby Baldwin is a beautiful chocolate boy who is delicious. And white people think he's delicious. But at what point are they going to see him as a predator? At what point are they going to start clenching their purse in an elevator and crossing the street when they see him? He's going to have a very different experience than his brother. He will be stopped and frisked. His brother, not as much, because he looks more like me. So I'm going to have to raise his big brother to protect him in different ways. His brother will be able to speak up in more ways possibly than Baldwin because of his packaging. And so it's that deep and granular. And so I don't want every mother to worry about surviving her pregnancy, her birth, and then have to go into worrying if her children are going to be able to thrive. So it's just unacceptable to me. And my mom had a comment during COVID. She's like, well, your grandfather survived and we're strong and all that. And I was like, nah, Ma, like, cut that. Black people, it's too exhausting to be like, I'm going to survive my day. That's why, like, I have an actress. So, sometimes I laugh. White people just like cross the street, and they don't even look. And I'm like, that's privilege, you just gonna walk in the street to survive. Walk in the street, you're not even looking. You know what I mean? That. Like, Black people are like, yo, I gotta make sure like I'm good. Like, it's that. And I use humor because this can get really heavy. But when you don't understand privilege, my best friend Sheena McIntyre is in town, and she is white and grew up in Oakland, and she's in beauty. And someone was like, oh my God, like I had a hard life. They didn't understand their privilege. And she broke it down. I was like, damn, girl, that was good. And so she looked at her and she said, okay. She was another white girl. And she said, when you go to CVS to buy shampoo, it's there for you because you and your needs are always considered. And I was like, well, that sums it up.
Wow.
And she said, I didn't say you didn't have a hard life. I said your needs are always considered at every turn. And Black people's are not. And it's not an accident.
It's by design.
Yeah. And so that is what in a very deep way, it's like a really easy job. I was like, so let me just found this nonprofit and like fix all the problems. But that to me is what keeps my fire burning, is because everybody deserves to wake up and have a shared experience. You know what I mean? Like,
to live.
You look at Ukraine, like my son was complaining about he didn't want to go to bed because he wanted to play with his toys. And I looked at him because I'm this type of mama. And Oakland came out in Harlem. I've been shared half my life in both places. And I said, there are kids in Ukraine walking for hours who might not see another day. So what we're going to do is thank God for what we have. It is time to go to bed. And he was like, oh, okay.
I actually heard you give a sample of your parenting on the Mom Goals podcast also, and I literally wrote it down. I was like, how do you think that makes mommy feel? I was like, that's what you said on the podcast.
Oh, yeah,
you were
raising
like,
kids.
You looked at him and you were like, how do you think that makes me feel when you talk to me like that? And I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to tell Ness next time. Because really, I mean, we can't be raising children to not respect their own mother, the place where they came.
Yeah, we don't do that. That's not in my house. I'm not saying he's always respectful, but I bring it to his attention, and I bring my needs and my feelings to his attention because that's not in his realm. And so I said, did you think, and I intentionally don't say, did you think about your little brother? Mm. I first say, did you think about my needs? Mm. He like, no. And then I said, did you think about Baldwin's? He's like, I said, you're not the only one with needs in this world.
Yeah.
You're just not. And so we don't help our kids by giving them everything. And it's hard. And a lot of Black moms, when we speak specifically with our boys, we know they're going to have a hard life. So we just try to give them everything and love on them. And I love on my boys, but there are consequences. And I don't think I'm setting you up for success to put you in a world that doesn't consider any of your needs and not all of your needs are considered inside this house. Like we got to strike a balance. And I just want to, for me, I don't care if my kids get an A. That's not important to me. And when we look at the world today, I want healthy, happy, and kind.
That's right.
And if we all, and something I've been and really focusing on in my teaching at Mirror and just in conversation with other human beings is pour into yourself. If people do the work on themselves to love themselves, this world will be a much more beautiful place. And it's all this adorning, all these things that women are doing in their bodies and all this stuff. If you want Botox, okay, girl, fine. If you want a new booty, that's cool. But like, do you really want that? Or do you feel you need that for someone else? Because you could keep doing all of that and still not like what you see. So for me, fitness, the approach to self-love, it comes from the inside, from your pelvic floor to, just what literally Mary J. Blige's Good Morning Gorgeous. When you roll out of bed, that's why I get my lashes done, because it helps.
They look so good.
Thanks, girl. It helps you when you don't,
it helps.
When you don't
I have
sleep.
The lashes too. They look so good.
You're distracted from your bags and the lack of sleep when you're like,
so
well, my lashes look good and my brows. It is that. It's what do you, and the fitness I talk about. Don't just go to this place or that place because it's trendy. Do you feel good? I want you to feel good.
I teach breath work, and the pattern that I teach is breath in the belly, inhale in the belly, inhale in the chest, and then exhale. And I always say we inhale twice to exhale once. Our offering to the world is important, but nothing compares. Double the amount. We have to pour double the amount of love into ourselves, because I was someone's child. I was God's child here on earth. I think we forget that as mothers.
Oh yeah,
and if we
huge.
if we lose ourselves, we just don't have a chance. We just don't have a chance.
And that's not an option, ladies. Anybody looking and listening, do not let these kids tell you're sexy. Don't do anything just because your partner wants you to do it or not do it. I'm not for that. Who are you? You are you before your wife, partner, mother, worker, friend. You're you. So you have to stay at the center of your life. And everyone will benefit if you are whole. And everyone will suffer if you're not. And if you're too much or not, whatever, then that's somebody else's problem.
That's right.
And so women must stop editing themselves for the fulfillment of others. And I have lived a life where I'm finally at 38 able to be like, you know what? If you coming in my space telling me I'm too much, criticizing and judging and saying I do too much and you do a lot and why you do this and why you doing that, I'm like, that's not love. That's not support. And so I don't want you then to be like, but I love you. I'm just looking out for you. That's not the love I need. And it's not love. To me, what I do is making you feel inadequate about stuff you're not dealing with in you. So what I need you to do, because I love you, how you are, how you present. I don't judge people. Unless you hurting kids and something like that, killing people, then we got a problem. But outside of that, do you, boo. That's it. I don't care how you move. Because that doesn't affect me. And whatever I do and how I move has nothing to do with the validation I need to get from anybody. That's not why I move the way I move. I care about people. And I love myself. Yeah. And I'm confident. Yeah. And when I start to feel that's being chipped away, that's Rachel's new journey of being like, whoa, I have to be better at letting those unwhole people in my space because they start to chip. And then I'm going, wait, right? And then my cup was full and then they got holes in it. And now my cup is not full anymore. And I keep trying to pour in it.
That cup of yours full. Babe.
But think about it, right?
We need it full.
When you're trying to fill your cup and it's not staying full, look around you. Because you might have some little people that they're like, oh, I'm all here for you.
They're little people.
I'm all here for you, girl. And you're like,
No, they might be takers. You have children of your own. Like, I have children of my own. I try to remind people of this all the time when they act like I have to take care of them, like my parents or my husband. I was like, I have babies. I
have some friends
I made
where
them,
I was like, girl.
and I'm sustaining them. I'm not taking care of literally anyone else's feelings.
Like, we can talk about it. We can have adult conversation, but
Yeah. What do we want for our children? They're around the same age. My
Mm-hmm.
son is 5. My daughter's 2.5. How old are your kids?
18 months and 4 and change.
What do we want for them for their future? Oh God, it's like climate change is like the first thing that comes to me. I want them to have an earth. I want them to feel whole enough in their skin and in their competence that they can offer their gifts to the world freely, because because the world needs what they have. I really believe there's no excess in the universe, and that they're here for a reason. And I hope that if I can see them and hear them and love them and offer them the appropriate boundaries and discipline that they need, that they can freely offer their very specific offerings to the world. What do you hope
So
for?
what do I want for my boys? You know, I'm not like, I was always the kid when people were like, what's your 5-year plan? I was like, oh, I didn't like that question. I never did. I don't want them to feel like they have to have a 5-year plan. Because to me, that forces you down paths you don't really want to go. Live your truth. And I think there'll be less confusion in your life because you're living your truth and you'll flow. Like, I'm in my flow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my life is perfect. I'm actually in a huge metamorphosis personally, but I am in my flow. I am seated in my consciousness. I'm connected to higher power, and I'm very focused. And as a result, I always say, leave space on your plate to receive blessings. Stay on your center. And that's what I'll tell them. It's hard, right? Your friend does this, or that friend plays with a different friend today, and that's okay. You're still you. Y'all still have your dynamic, and there's other things, right? And I'm learning that with Samuel because he's an empath. He's my baby. He's very similar to me. And just be a heart person, you know what I mean? Be aware of other people. In my parenting, you know, being aware of emotions, being able to communicate your feelings, those things are very important to me. And for boys, and for certain Black boys, that's not something you see. And my boys have a beautiful, loving, affectionate, physical, in play and in love relationship.
With each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hold hands, they cuddle. When my baby cries, my eldest goes, Baldwin, baby Baldwin, it's going to be okay. Just breathe. Mommy just went in the other room for a second, but she'll be back.
Wow.
You know, they
What a
hold hands in
reflection
the
of the
bed.
way you parent.
Thank you. It's really deep and magical when you know, everything you see about yourself or your people is so negative. And in our home, it's very loving and peaceful. And so I want them to know they always have that foundation, and that life can be cruel, but you create your life, you know, and you build it. And I, you know, we have that commonality. We didn't choose some easy, clear path, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't want to go be a doctor or a lawyer or a school teacher. That's okay. And then it's okay if you want to be an actor and then you're like, I don't want to do this. And it's okay if you want to be a scientist and you don't want to be that. And it's okay if you get married and you don't want to do that anymore. It's okay.
It is okay.
And you love who you love, and all of that is okay. And so if we get away from all this stringent structures of like social expectations and careers and finances and measures of success, blow all that away so you can stay focused on who you are. And if everyone does that, whew, happiness is actually attainable.
Paradise on earth. I mean, if we could just, I really, if we could listen to ourselves, love ourselves, honor ourselves, my God.
Yeah.
We would not be at war
With ourselves. So,
and each other.
I mean, clearly we could talk forever.
We could talk forever.
My bestie's like, girl, I thought you was finished at 3:45.
Sorry.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
okay. I don't care. It's fine.
It's a hard conversation. It's a worthy conversation. I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you. And hard is not bad. If I could leave people with that, hard is not bad. Challenges change us. And when you're uncomfortable, you're growing.
Yeah.
And growth is beautiful, right? Like, why do we want?
It's life. Growth is life.
I don't want to live in no puddle. I want to live in the ocean. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Puddles have bacteria.
That's right. And I feel like we're heading toward the ocean. I really do. I don't mean to sound Pollyanna, but I do feel like this uncomfortable metamorphosis, these uncomfortable conversations, they have to happen in order for us to really live in our truth, as you say, as a collective.
Correct.
If you can leave us with some more information where we can follow you, where we can continue to support you, or maybe you can send me some of your beautiful contacts so that we can elevate Black voices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell these stories. It's important. Both Laura and I are committed. So we are thinking of getting on a panel. You and I with perhaps some mothers who
I think it would be great to have like Black mothers share birth stories, but also now single Black fathers who've lost their partners as a result of this crisis, because I think that really brings it to a head, right? You're like, oh, because there's all these ideas that Black dads don't step up. Well, yeah, they do, because a lot of them have, are left motherless. And their babies. And what's even crazier is some of them have to fight for custody.
What?
Oh, yeah. We'll be here all day.
So we'll be here another day?
We'll be here another day.
To continue the conversation, perhaps on a panel.
And thank you so much. Yes. So in closing, Rachel Nix, follow me at Rachel E. Nix, Nicks. Follow at birthqueen.org. And please visit www.birthqueen.org.
I just want to encourage the listener that if you do have whatever amount to donate to the nonprofit, I strongly, strongly encourage you to. I love and appreciate what you're doing, and thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and if you want to buy a mirror, Rachel 3, and you get a little discount.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers.